Hello, today we're going to be playing Pokemon Crystal Legacy, and this is a game created by The Smith Plays Pokemon, another YouTuber who's very large, you've probably heard of him, and it's a trilogy of games that's actually seems pretty good. They are attempting to remake Pokemon in a way that sort of keeps the theme of the game, but improves it in some ways. So in this case, we're going to start on the normal difficulty, because I'm not playing on hard mode. I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound very fun to me. I like to just relax and play Pokemon, and this is a little bit harder than a typical game. Since this is the first time you can pick boy and girl, we're going girl. And, of course, we're going to go with the name Jules because, So we're going to go with that. After selecting our character and leaving our bedroom, we are now heading to Elm's lab. We're going to pick up our first Pokemon, and we're probably just going to go Totodile here. Now that we have our first Pokemon, we are going to be heading out of the lab and into our first Pokemon battle with a wild Pidgey. We are now on a trip for Elm to go get the Pokemon Mystery Egg, so we're going to head out and do that. After getting to Mr. Pokemon's house, we finally get the egg, and this is all, not super important for the game, so we're gonna skip around for this until we get to, the main part. Back at Cherry Grove, we are going to go battle our rival for the first time. We haven't named him yet. This is where we're going to get to name our rival as well, and let's see how this goes. Our rival's going to send out a Chikorita, and of course we're going to send out our Totodile that we've been training pretty regularly, so we're already at level 9. This should be an easy match for us here. And after a swift victory over our rival here, we are going to head back to Elm's lab. We don't get the rival's actual name, but we're going to call him Silver. I like keeping the names pretty standard. Just like I don't like really nicknaming my Pokemon. I don't really like giving the characters not the right names. I stick with what the game gave us, or what the creators had in mind. Now that we're finally on our own adventure, we're going to head up to this Route 46 here. We want to try to find a Phanpy, a Geodude, just trying to catch some additional Pokemon. And we're going to go through this pretty quickly, actually. We immediately run into a Geodude that I believe we catch, but we're not super looking forward to this. Geodude's probably not going to be a long-term team member here, but he is good to have in the early game. But this is what we're actually looking for, a Phanpy. I'm a real big fan of Donphan and Phanpy, to be honest, and at this point of the game, I really just want to kind of have them on the team. I was considering them being a long-term team member for this. I do manage to catch this Phanpy here, and, we're going to go forward from there. Now that we've caught all the Pokemon that we want in this area, we're going to go heal, and we're going to head towards the first gym, but I want to stop and get some Pokeballs first. And this is where I make probably the biggest critical error I made playing this game. I have finished this game at the time of editing and recording all of this, but at this point I make what will be the worst mistake I can here, and you're gonna see it in a second. Not paying attention, I buy 9 potions and spend all of my money on potions like an idiot, so I have no Pokeballs. So now I have to sell the potions back so that I can buy the Pokeballs I actually need. And while right now this isn't a huge deal, this becomes an issue in probably the back half of this episode. At this point, I start making my way towards Violet City and battling all the trainers I can find on my way. I don't really have any aspirations for additional team members at this time. There are some I'm considering, but nothing that I'm particularly looking for. First up, we have youngster Joey with his Rattata. This is quickly followed by youngster Mikey and his Hoot Hoot and Centret, and of course we take them down pretty easy as well. And after knocking that out, we have Bug Catcher Dion and his Ladybug and his Spinnerack, and we take those out pretty quickly as well. This time though, Fanfi gains a level and we get Mud Slap, which is cool. This will be very useful later. And after all these battles, we finally find a Pokemon we actually want to add to the team, and this time it's Pichu. I'm a real big fan of Raichu, actually. That's one of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon, and a chance to use a Raichu this early in the playthrough is really interesting. I think that's going to be fun. So in this case, we can get the Pichu now, and we'll have this all the way up through the end of the game, so that's really cool. And next up, we have Bug Catcher Wade, and he has a Weedle and a Pineco, and this time we're going to use Pichu to try to level it up a little bit. This will be good going into the first gym, so we're really trying to get these levels onto Pichu now. And we make pretty quick work of this. It's not too much of a struggle for Pichu, although there's no type advantage or anything going on here. And next up, we quickly run into a Wild Mareep. And we already have a Pichu, and as much as I like Ampharos, I really didn't want to use Ampharos again. I used Ampharos a lot, and this line a lot across my Gen 2 playthroughs, because it's typically the easier to get electric type this early in the game. Pichu is usually not found around here. That's something they added to Crystal Legacy. So I wanted to stick with my Pichu, and we're going to ignore Mareep here. It's at this point we try to go pick up more Pokeballs, realizing that we're more or less out of them, and we don't have the money for them. Like I said, this is going to come back to bite us later. That mistake with the potions, we would have had twice as many Pokeballs. So instead we have to go grind for some money. So we head out to find more trainers to try to battle and earn some more money. And our first stop is towards the ruins of Alph. Once entering the ruins of Alph, we head and we complete the initial Kabutops puzzle. And then we go and we fight an unknown, but really we were just here for some money. So now that we have some Pokeballs, we're going to head to our next location. It's at this point that I learned we can get a Larvitar really early in the game here by going to the cave where you would usually find like a Zubat and a Dunsparce. We can search for a very low encounter rate Larvitar. And so we decide to do that. And we don't have many Pokeballs, but we try to get it anyway. And, it doesn't go our way. We actually end up failing this Larvitar after a good amount of time of searching, because we just didn't have the Pokeballs. And this is where this problem from earlier becomes a real thorn in our side. We really wanted to catch this Larvitar, and obviously we did not. So we're going to have to try again later. After that disastrous mistake and the loss of our first Larvitar, we decide to try our shots at the gym instead. This will earn us some money. It's also something we just need to do for the game, of course. And we get some experience here. Larvitar wasn't really going to help us too much with the gym anyway, so I feel like this is fine. We don't really need him here. I do want to save at least Sprout Tower for Larvitar though, because that'll be a good place to train and gain some levels. With that in mind, we're going to battle Birdkeeper Abe and Birdkeeper Rod, one with a Spearow and one with a Pidgey and a Natu. And again, Pichu just cleans up really easily here, even being several levels under-leveled. This isn't too much of an issue, being the massive type advantage. Pichu does, however, end up struggling a little bit with Natu, and we try to use Fanfi to get the experience that way, but that doesn't work out either, so Totodile comes in and cleans up the mess here. And with all the trainers in the gym beat, we head for Faulkner himself, and this time we have to have a bit of a plan. We really want to try not to lose any money here. That's the goal. It's not so much a matter of whether or not we actually beat the gym leader in this case, because we could always just try again, but we can't afford to lose any money if we're going to try to catch our Larvitar. So we start with our Pichu against his Pidgey. He is about the same level. He's a one level higher, but it's a close fight. I feel like we can win this, and Pichu does get lucky with a quick Thunder Shock that results in a paralysis, However, we end up losing to a critical hit anyway, and Pichu is out. Not wanting to waste any resources here, we decide to go with Totodile to make quick work of this Pidgey and kind of wrap things up here. Then they send out a Noctowl. Now, Noctowl is not typically Faulkner's ace. Usually it's a Pidgeotto, but I think this actually works in Pokemon Crystal Legacy's favor, as Noctowl is a Gen 2 Pokemon, and Pidgeotto and the Pidgey family got quite a bit of love in the original Red and Blue. There was no real need to make it an ace here. With that in mind, we decide to use Phanpy to try to weaken Noctowl's attacks as much as possible using Growl, and then we go with Geodude just to try to put in as much damage as we can with it before we switch back to Totodile, and Totodile cleans up the Noctowl for us. With this victory, we have some money, and it's time to go buy some more Pokeballs and try to get that Larvitar yet again. But before we do, we collect our badge, and we're going to go to the Pokemon Center, heal up, and we're going to pick up the egg from Professor Elm's aid, and this will eventually hatch into a Togepi that we may or may not use. I haven't really decided at this point. But we're actually going to end the episode here at this point. We collected our first badge, we made some pretty big progress, and I think it's long enough video at this time. So I believe I already mentioned this in the video, but I've already beaten this game, and this is the footage that I recorded while playing the game, and I've decided to try to make it into a video. I was just going to do like a review of the game, and then use this footage as the background footage for when I talked about it, but I decided I have all this footage of me playing it. Let's try a Let's Play. So, this is my first attempt at one. I don't really do Let's Plays. I've never done a Let's Play style video before, so we're going to give it a shot. But this was a lot of work to edit, I will say. This took me quite a bit of time to make, and with that in mind, if the video doesn't do very well, I'm not going to post more of it. Like, this took so much more time than my typical videos do, so we'll see. But if this is something that does well, I have the entire series ready to edit. And now that a lot of the base work is done here, I can probably make this a little bit quicker next time. So with that in mind, if it does well, or if you want to see this, I can post more of it. I do have, again, the entire game finished. Or maybe I could do something else, like stream the game or something. I don't know. I was kind of thinking about streaming, like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection when that comes out, because I'm really excited for that. So that's a possibility. Maybe I can do that and then just edit those into like clips for the channel or something. I haven't really decided yet. But anyway, thanks for watching. This is more of an experiment video for the channel as opposed to my typical stuff. And usually I don't ask for much for feedback because I just make whatever I want. But this was something that was fun to make, but was a lot of work, and I don't really want to do this if like it's going to get 4 views. Some of my videos really do get no views, and like that's fine. I enjoyed making it. But this was way too much work if it's going to get 0 views, right? So, anyway, thanks for watching, and maybe we'll make another one. Bye.